A subject we don't talk about enough is breakups, and more specifically, friendship breakups, which is a very real thing. It's something that each and every one of us has or is going to experience at some point in time. And I believe that there just isn't enough guidance, there isn't enough information about how to do this in a healthy and productive way. Right? There's a lot of information on like how to cut somebody off. There's a lot of information on how to, ghost somebody, on how to cut toxic people out. Heck, I make some of that content of how to, rid yourself of toxic individuals, etc. But this one specifically is about when you outgrow a relationship, right? When you come to a point where you're just two different people on two very different paths. Now, sometimes it's as difficult, if not more difficult, to break up with a friend than it is a intimate relationship, because you might have had a friend since you were a young child. You might have had that friendship for your entire life, whereas a relationship probably only formed either in your teens, in your 20s, in your 30s, etc. Right? So when it comes to friendship breakups, I've been in this certain situation a multitude of times myself. And when I got to the bottom of it, it really had less to do with them and everything to do with me. And this is what I mean. Though there may have been certain habits and certain characteristics and certain attributes that I did not want to participate in and be a part of, it was still a decision within me to say, I'm just going a different way than this person. It's not to make them wrong or make them a bad person. Like in the beginning, we were both doing drugs. In the beginning, we were both living a certain lifestyle. We were both engaging in certain mentalities and moving about life in certain ways. And so for me just to say, oh, you're the worst, that's kind of a cop out. And it's almost a defense mechanism we used, or it's a mechanism we use to not feel maybe the grieving process of letting go of a friendship, and a friendship that means so much to us. Again, you probably wouldn't need a breakup from a friendship or this type of video if it wasn't somebody you truly care about. Now, I want to give two different type of situations or scenarios. There's one where you have a person who is, let's say, completely in the toxic side, like somebody who, I have to separate myself from this person because it's no good for me in any sort of way, right? It might damn near be dangerous or whatever it may be. Like your spirit is telling you separate from this person immediately. That's one. And the other side is, let's say, somebody who, again, y'all just grown apart. There's just nothing that you have in common anymore. You're going left, they're going right. Maybe you want to build a business and you want to spend your time, creating a better life, getting healthier, feeding your body better foods, and they're just satisfied, they're content in their life. Now, again, it doesn't always have to come down to a place where you are letting that relationship go, but it's a reality in this life that if we're heading in a certain direction, specifically in a direction of growth, when we're becoming more than we were before or becoming all that we can be, if we surround ourselves with those who are content or complacent, and we try to drag them along with us, it is going to take so much energy, so much focus, so much attention away from what you're trying to build, and you won't be able to serve the world in the way that you actually desire to. Like, think about if Jeff Bezos had decided to stay with like the software engineers at his old job, right? At 31 years old, before he quit whatever software job that he had. Imagine if he just stayed in that realm and was drinking beers after work every night and, doing the regular job and being satisfied with just like the regular 9 to 5 lifestyle. If he had stayed there, we would not have the empire that is Amazon right now. That is the reality. And so he had to make a decision at a certain point to say, am I going to stay the same person? Am I going to remain the same person and get the same results? Or am I going to become all I can be and have to possibly sacrifice some of these relationships in order to be in that place? And he's now developed relationships at a higher level with those type of individuals. If this is triggering to you, it's just a sign to us to show, or it's a sign to you, to I, to show that we've been programmed into believing that outgrowing a relationship, outgrowing a friendship is selfish, or like letting go of people is a selfish thing. So we have a lot of guilt around letting go of relationships, letting go of friendships, simply because of the programming, because of the conditioning. How dare you let somebody go just because you're no longer resonating with them? But then you think about like an intimate relationship. If you were in an intimate relationship and you and the person were going two completely different ways, how would that relationship work? How would that relationship stand? When this person wants to party, go out every night, they want to drink, they want to, live in La Vida Loca, and you're trying to be serious, to build a relationship, to build a family, to build a household, to have kids, to have, to have your businesses and your empire that you're building, these two are not going to coincide. It's not going to work. Regardless of what you try to do, how hard you try to drag that person, they are not coming with you. And so we have to know how to let go of those relationships in a healthy way. Now, when I say a healthy way, I really mean healthy for ourselves, of course, as well as the other person. But when I say like letting go in a healthy way, I basically mean doing it with a mentality and a heart set that is genuinely for the best interest of both, right? Like where you're genuinely saying, okay, there's nothing I can do for this person. And if I'm holding myself back trying to keep this relationship going, then nobody's helped in the first place. As opposed to this person's the worst, they're so evil, they're so bad, they're terrible, and then just holding that resentment and bitterness. Like, that's different. Make sure to watch my video on how to forgive yourself and others. Make sure to watch that video if that's your mentality. But we have to come to a place where we're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it from a place of self-love, and therefore we can truly love others. And loving others sometimes means loving them from a distance. Again, imagine anybody you know who's successful. If they took everybody with them, eventually that person would just fall right back to the bottom. And you've probably seen examples of that. You've seen examples of people who rose up to a level, try to bring everybody with them, and those people basically sucked them dry because they didn't know how else to be in that environment. They weren't made for that environment. They had not cultivated themselves and grown into the type of person who can be in that space, in that place, on that platform. And so again, for yourself, you first have to recognize that I'm doing this from a healthy place, which is from a good mental state. As opposed to bitterness and resentment, I'm doing it from a place of self-love, from a place of self-respect, of self-dignity. This also goes, by the way, for toxic relationships and, those other, like the other extreme per se. So you have to come to that place. Now, some would ask, okay, how do I do it technically? Like, do I go to the person and tell them I don't want to be a friend no more, like when we were kids? Well, if that's your personality type, you can go right ahead and just explain it to the person and tell them, listen, like this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing, and I just might not have the time. But in other cases, you can send the message through your own actions and activities. Now, if you are somebody who is afraid of no, well, it's going to hinder your success in the first place. I'll probably end up making a video on like how to say no. But anyway, if you find yourself in a place where, let's say you're getting invited to things that you don't necessarily want to go to. You get invited to the club. You get invited to the strip clubs. You get invited to a bar. You get invited to parties. You get invited to whatever it is. And you want to use and invest your time in a different way. You can just start simply declining those invites, cordial way. Thank you very much. But, I'm doing this tonight. You can make it blatant. I'm doing this. Now, if you find resistance, then you start seeing, okay, this person is obviously in a mental state where this is triggering to them. They don't want to see me change because change means they're going to lose me, right? And when you have that type of individual expose themselves, it's not, again, to get angry and, oh, this person's the worst. I knew they didn't want me to win. Like, that's not necessary. You might feel that way first, but we want to overcome that. We want to transcend that and get ourselves to a place where we come to understanding that, again, change will trigger people. When you change, it will reflect on the other person and they will start to project sometimes their own insecurities. It's like when you get to the bag, right? You attract a big old bag. You get $100,000, $10,000, $1 million, whatever. Like sometimes your people, your folk, your friends will look at you different and start to be insecure. You build up that business and it's now successful. They start to look at you weird. It's not because it's consciously they don't want you to win. It's just there's a subconscious, unconscious, unhealed aspect of themselves that is triggered. And so they might tell you, nah, you working too hard. You doing too much. Like, chill, slow down. Like I had somebody one time when I was, deeply making music. I was putting out a song every single week, grew my first following. And they said, like, why are you doing a song every week? Like, why don't you just do like one, a month or like one every few months or whatever it is so you can really focus on it? And I was like, bruh, like, I'm making 3-4 songs a day. What do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? But I didn't understand for them, it meant, damn, like separation anxiety, right? This person might end up going places and doing things and it's going to reflect on me like, what am I doing, right? And I've been in that place. I've seen people in my life. Now, thankfully, I'm a little more less vocal about those things. Like even if I felt resentment or whatever, I would still try to like cheer you on, even though I was burning inside. But now I can genuinely feel that love for you and success for you because I'm in my mission. I'm on my purpose. And because I'm on my purpose, I see you winning and I see you as inspiration and motivation for me. So back to the point. So now you've outgrown the situation. They're inviting you to things, that you don't want to go to anymore. They want to hang out and smoke, but you want to work on your business. They want to hang out and smoke, but you want to, work on your certification. You want to work on, your book or whatever it may be. Let that be known. Let them know that this is what you're working on. And sometimes you'll find that you will actually save or spare a relationship and even inspire that person in some cases if you just tell them like, this is what I'm looking to do. Right? Let's go eat, let's go out, until this time. You say, hey, I'm working on my body. I'm going to the gym at 5 a.m., 7 a.m. tomorrow, so I can't be up like that. Oh, man, you don't want to, okay, you're not fun anymore. Then okay, this individual is afraid of that separation anxiety. So in that case, you still do you, but you let them know and say, look, this is what I'm doing. Put your foot down. Now it becomes a boundary, right? This is what I'm doing. These are the goals and aspirations that I have. I understand if you want to do your thing, but this is what I'm choosing to do. And if they overstep that and start to shame you and blame you, then you can let it be known through communication and say, listen, like I don't want to have this conversation right now. And if you're not a confrontational type of individual, you don't have to be confrontational about this, by the way. But if you're not the type of person who likes that back and forth, that's sometimes when people get ghosted. Like, to be honest with you, and I'm not talking about like completely just off the face of the earth, which I have done and I've had to do in multiple cases, and not from a place of hatred or hatred, but from a place of just like self-love and self-respect. But if you find yourself with people who are now like deeply resistant and they want to pull you back into like crabs in a barrel, they want to pull you back into that barrel. When you find yourself in that place, then cut the communication. Okay, all right, well, thanks for the invite. I'll talk to you soon. Off to work on my thing. Now, if you've brought psychos into your life, that might be a whole different situation right there. Psychos who just can't let go of the relationship, them folks got to get ghosted for real. Like, it's just, again, maybe you were in a place where you were kind of cuckoo yourself, you were kind of psycho yourself, and so you attracted a lot of those type of individuals into your life, and that's where your deservedness and your self-worth was. It was that low, and so that's what you attracted. No need to shame yourself for it. Just move forward by doing something different, by moving different. And again, that is the case in those extreme cases, like I say, in the toxic type situations, when you just simply have to remove yourself. No communication. And they will get the hint, just like anybody else in that space. They will eventually get the hint that this person's serious and they respect themselves so long as you respect yourself. And eventually, it might take a month, 6 months, a year, whatever. That person will fall off eventually. But you'll be so in your grind, so in your process that it won't even matter. Now, what is different, or sometimes where people catch themselves, is they tell themselves they're going to do certain things, but they're not really committed. Like, oh, I'm going to stop drinking, but you still kind of drink a little bit. Like, nobody's going to respect that. If you don't respect yourself, nobody else can respect you. You got to be committed to what you're actually saying you're going to do, or saying that you're doing. Whatever you're aspiring towards, you got to be dedicated. You got to be on that. And once you are dedicated, once you are persistent, once you're in the flow of that thing, it doesn't matter like if you're taking step 1 or step 1,000. Like if you just got your LLC for your business, or you just are starting to write page 1, you got to be dedicated to it. You can't say to them, oh, I'm working on my book, but then 10 minutes later, oh, I'm bored now, like hit them back up and go out. They're not going to respect you. And if that's the case, then this ain't the information for you. This ain't the video for you. You have not outgrown that relationship. You're somebody who's wishing and hoping. You're not somebody who has given themselves to a different lifestyle. And again, this doesn't mean that your business is already built. It doesn't mean your body is already the way that you wanted to be, or whatever may be in your life, right? It just simply means you have made a commitment to a different trajectory, a different space, a different route. And so when those people around you don't see that vision for themselves, and they find it hard to see it for you and can't even be supportive for you in that route, then that's when you start to take these steps of separation. Either let it be known if you're the type of person who can simply let it be known. If you're not, then just distance yourself and make it blatant, even in that passive way that you want to do it. I'm not here to shame you for being a passive type of individual. To be honest with you, there were moments in my life when I was kind of passive or passive aggressive. But I learned that to be straight up and, upfront with somebody is the best way to go about it. It's the best way because they'll show you their true colors on one side, or they'll show you that they support you. And on either side, you win because you know that, okay, I have a support of a friend and I can keep this person in my life. Yes, I might not have the same time with them, but I can let them know like this is what I'm building. Sometimes they can even be a part of it. Sometimes they even get inspired and they start to shift their life and change their life seeing how you're moving. But in some cases, again, they can't do it. They're too resistant to it. They're too insecure for it. They're not ready for it. It's not for them. And so all they can do is try to pull you back into that old lifestyle. And when you made a decision to go the other way, it's not for you. That person you have to let go slowly but surely. Or if it's too drastic, you let it go. You cut the cord and you do the forgiveness. You do the inner work. You let go of them. You forgive. You grieve it. You give thanks for what it was. But you don't hold on to it. Don't bring it into your future. Don't bring the jadedness. Too many successful people that I see, talk about haters and, oh man, they didn't believe in me, etc. Like, I get it. Like, yes, a lot of people won't believe in you on your come up. I get it. But to hold on to that resentment, it's not doing anything for you. It's not going to help you in any shape or form. Now, I appreciate you for watching this video, for staying all the way tuned in. My name is Aquarius Waive. Make sure to subscribe to this channel or any other channel I got on any other platform, past, present, or future. I appreciate you. Love you. Peace.